Today we're looking at something that's called the percent equation. And to solve percent equations, we're going to use this formula here. It's very similar to something we've learned in the past, finding bases, percentages, and numbers. What this equation stands for is we have a value A, which stands for a number, and we're being told that that's equal to the percentage times the base. So let's look at our problem here. We're being asked what number is 20% of 110. Now I'm seeing percentages here, so I know that this 20% is going to replace the P in the formula. And then since it says of 110, I learned before that whenever I see of in a number, that means that this number is the base. So 110 is going to replace this B that represents the base. So let's rewrite this now. A will stay the same because that's what we're looking for. And that's going to be equal to the percent, which they're telling us is 20. Formula, or the operation that we want to do, is multiplication. And I want to multiply 20% by the base, which we're also being told is 110. So now our formula is set up with the values that were given to us. And what I want to do is multiply, but to make it easier on us, let's take this percentage and turn it into a decimal. And we learned before that to do that, we first put a decimal on the end of it, and then move 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So what this will now become, 0.2. We're still multiplying by 110. So now I have one more problem to do, and that's going to give us our answer. Let's do that over here. Let's take our 110 base, and let's multiply it by 0.2, or 2/10. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. And remember, I had a decimal that was one place over here. I moved it out one place, so I'm going to want to put it back in one place, which means that this number, A, is equal to 22. And I was able to do that by taking the percentage, turning it into a decimal, multiplying it by the base, gave us an answer of 22. So 22 is 20% of 110. Now we're going to look at something a little bit different. We're still going to use the same percent equation formula, but we're going to be asked to find a different value. Last time we were trying to find the number. This time we're being told what the number is. The number is 117, and the percentage is 45. What we're looking for is the base. So if I say this, the number 117 is 45% of what number? So my first step is to rewrite the formula, plugging in the numbers that are given to us. So I know that's going to be 117, and we'll set that equal to the percentage, which we're being told is 45. And we still want to multiply by the base, and that's the number that we're looking for. So let's think back. So what we really need to do is turn it into a decimal. So we know the decimal would start here and move 2 places. 1, 2. So now I can get rid of this one. And now since I have this variable b times 45/100ths, what I want to actually do is use algebra to get the b all by itself. So what we have to do to get rid of that is divide both sides by 45/100ths. Now they're going to cancel out, but whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So now in order to finish this problem, I have to take 117 and divide it by 45/100ths. We'll move over this way and set that problem up here. There's our 100. I want to divide by 45/100ths. But to make this easier on us, let's get this decimal out of the way. So we know we're going to have to move it back 1, 2 places. So I'm going to make myself a little note right here. I'm going to put 2p because when I get my answer, I'm going to have to put a decimal back in 2 places or move it 2 places. So if we look at it this way, 45 will go into 117, I know, 2 times. And that gives us 90. If I subtract from that, I get 27. Now 45 will not go into 27, so we put in a decimal. And now I can add a 0 to this, bring it down. If I do a little math, 45 actually goes into 270 6 times evenly. Which will leave us with 0. So if I end up with an answer of 2.6, this is where my decimal place comes in handy. I know that it has to be moved 2 places. So I'm going to take this decimal and move it 2 places over. 1, 2. So my decimal is now here. What this means is I have to come back in and add a 0 as a placeholder. That goes away. 260, which means our base, b, is equal to 260. So in order to find the base, remember, I plug in the numbers that I have, did algebra, in this case it was division, divided both sides by the percentage, and it ended up giving me my base. For our third and final step today, we're going to take our formula again, percentages, and we're looking at our equation, and our equation is saying 90 is what percentage of 150. So now we actually are going to solve for the percent, try to find the percent. So we're given our number, 90. That'll take the place of A. It's equal to, we don't know the percentage, so we'll leave it as P. Now we're going to multiply that by the base. It says of 150. That means our base is 150. So in our next step, we're going to have to use algebra, and it's going to be division again. And the reason why is I want to get P by itself. So in order to do that, I have to divide by 150 over here. They're going to cancel out. Gives us P by itself, which is what we wanted. But whatever we do to the right side, we have to come over and do to the left side. So now our new problem becomes 90 divided by 150, and that's going to tell us what the percentage is. So let's set that problem up over here and solve for that. So I get 90, and we're dividing it by 150. Well, we know automatically 150 will not go into 90, which means we have to set up 0 with a decimal place, which means we can now add a 0 to this. 150 will go into 900, total of 6 times. Now remember, since we are finding a percentage, we can't leave our answer as a decimal, so we're going to take our decimal and convert it to a percent, which means we move 2 places, but this time it's going to be to the right. So I move over 2 places, 1 and 2. That puts my decimal here, which means I need to fill this in with a number. So now we know 90 is what percent of 150? We know that the percent is 60. So we can go back and say 90 is 60% of 150.